This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again.
Donald Trump has won his second term, setting up a historic return to the White House. In a stunning political comeback, a red wave handed Republicans both the presidency and the U.S. Senate, with the House still too close to call. NBC News called Trump as the winner after he secured Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes. That put him over the 270 needed to win the election. We are expecting Vice President Kamala Harris to speak to the public today at 1 p.m. our time. Right now, we do want to bring in NBC's Chris Pallone. So, Chris, we are hearing that the vice president has called the president-elect. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, according to aides Christine, the vice president called the president-elect a little more than an hour ago. She spoke with him about uniting the country. She urged him to be a president for all Americans. She promised the Biden administration's cooperation in the transition, something, of course, the former and now president-elect did not give to President Biden and Vice President Harris 4 years ago. In fact, still denying that he lost that election. And she said that she congratulated him and wished him well and conceded the race. So that speech that she is about to give, now that she has made this concession call and this congratulatory call, will be coming up in just about an hour on the spot where she had hoped to deliver her victory speech, not far from where I am right now at Howard University here in Washington, D.C. She's expected to be surrounded by supporters there, much like she was last night. However, she never made that speech.
Chris, there is talk of a red wave last night. We know that the Republicans are going to be taking over the U.S. Senate. We're still waiting on results on the House, of course. Trump also winning Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, very key states in the race. What are the takeaways from how things played out?
Well, first of all, the demographics are fascinating, and I'm sure that political scientists and historians will be digging into this one for quite some time. We've learned that former President Trump, now the president-elect, attracted many more Hispanic voters, Latino voters, than he did 4 years ago. He also did really well with men under 30, also with first-time voters, people who are usually not engaged in the political process, in building his coalition, a new Republican coalition, if you will, in order to win this election. Voters told exit pollers that their top issue in this race was the state of democracy. Read into that what you wish. But right behind it was the economy. And we've been hearing that for months. People are complaining. You know, the data shows that the economy is doing well and improving. But people see prices are higher. Their rent is higher. Eggs are higher. Staples in the grocery store. They don't feel like their paychecks are getting any higher, even though in some cases they are. And so that was one of the large drivers of this. And voters apparently felt like the vice president didn't have a plan. It was part of the problem for the past 4 years coming out of COVID and with the excessive inflation that we saw. And so now we wait to see what happens in the House. If Democrats are not able to flip 4 seats, then it would set up a situation like former President Trump had for the first 2 years of his last administration, where he had control of both houses of Congress.
Okay, we will certainly be watching, not only in the coming days, but in the weeks from now. Chris Pallone, live for us in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much for your insights. So what more do we make of the election this morning on Kong? I talked with a professor at Seattle University about what stood out to him regarding the presidential race.
The constituencies that Harris was depending on coming home for her didn't come home. She was banking really heavily on women in particular, swinging her way. We've seen women voting Democratic more since 2022, but especially if we're looking at white women, they supported Trump at about the same rate that they did in 2020.
Professor Patrick Shatner also pointed to exit polls that have indicated a gender divide among voters with, as mentioned, Latino men supporting Trump.